मैं देश की माताओं, बहनों, बेटियों को नारी शक्ति बंधन अधिनियम के लिए बहुत बहुत बधाई दूंगा। मैं सभी माताओं, बहनों, बेटियों को आश्वस्त करता हूं कि हम इस बिल को कानून बनाने के लिए संकल्पबद्ध है। मैं इस सदन में सभी साथियों से आग्रहपूर्वक निवेदन करता हूं, आग्रह भी करता हूं, और जब एक पावन शुरुआत हो रही है, पावक विचार हमारे सामने आया है, तो सर्वसम्मति से जब ये बिल कानून बनेगा तो उसकी ताकत अनेक गुना बढ़ जाएगी। और इसलिए मैं सभी माननीय सांसदों से, दोनों सदन के सभी माननीय सांसदों से इसे सर्वसम्मति से पारित करने के लिए प्रार्थना करते हुए आपका आभार व्यक्त करता हूं कि इस नए सदन के प्रथम सत्र में मुझे आपने मेरी भावनाओं को व्यक्त करने का अवसर दिया। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
And I was there. It was clearly a momentous occasion when the government decided to table the Women Reservation Bill, but they also wanted to make the point that it's all about Nari Shakti. Well, that's the name really of the bill. But at the same time, sitting in the visitors gallery were all the Naris, women coming in from different backgrounds. If they were journalists like me, they were social media influencers, who were dancers, who were Padma Shris, they were fashion designers like Reena Dhaka. There was, of course, a writer, Adwaita Kala, among many of them who were present there. And of course, Kangana Ranaut, as all of us know. So the idea really which the government had in getting the influencers sitting in the visitors gallery while the bill was being tabled was to show to the world that women matter. It's women power which is going to sway power, and it's not just about social and economic empowerment, but it's also about political empowerment. But there have been lots of twists and turns. It's not that the opposition did not get a whiff of the fact that this bill is going to be presented by the government, and therefore you must have noticed over the last few days there was a flurry of activity. If K. Kavita of the BRS was trying to take credit by saying that this is something which I think the government needs to pass, you had her father, Chief Minister of Telangana, making the point that this is a bill which should be cleared by the government, and of course Mamata Banerjee, the JDU, the SP, the Aam Aadmi Party, all of them. But I think the most interesting response really came in from the Congress Party. When Sonia Gandhi was met by the media people today inside Parliament, she suddenly turns around. In fact, she was actually goaded to make the point, but she turned around to say that this is our bill. The reason why she's saying is so because in 2010 in Rajya Sabha, the women reservation bill was cleared.
तो बहुत प्रसन्नता की बात है कि बहुत समय के बाद आज हमने इस ऐतिहासिक कदम उठाए, और मैं अपनी भारत की अपनी प्यारी बहनों को, उन सभी को बधाई देती हूँ।
Unfortunately for her and the Congress party, that bill could not be cleared in Lok Sabha because there was no consensus, there was no unanimity. That is because parties like Mamata Banerjee had abstained. She said that in that interview to me. Apart from that, the RJD, the Samajwadi Party, all of them had objected because they also wanted a reservation as far as the SC, ST or even the OBCs are concerned. But for Sonia Gandhi, it was an emotional moment. You're going to see that inside the parliament. In fact, when we were standing there and we were watching also from the visitors gallery, we got a very ringside view really of what was happening inside the Lok Sabha when the bill was, when there was a lot of activity and there was a lot of murmur that, okay, now the bill is going to be tabled. We saw Sonia Gandhi looking very pensive, emotional, but also clearly wanted to take the credit because this was her dream bill in 2010, but her dream was shattered because she did not get support from her alliance partners. Clearly, over the next few days, the Congress party will keep on harping on the fact that we are the ones who thought of it. But there's a counter which is going to come in from the BJP, because the BJP is going to say that if this bill was your dream bill, why could you not fulfill your sapna? For the sake of ensuring that your government did not fall, you did not want to take on your allies like the Samajwadi Party or the RJD, and you could not even cajole Mamata Banerjee to not abstain. That is certainly going to be the kind of politics which is going to be played out. But more of that later, because that's something which is going to keep on going on. Who did it? Who takes credit? Who's responsible for it? But it was really I would say it was a great moment at the Visitors Gallery when all of us were sitting there. Because, all of us had been told to go there. Inside the parliament, you're not allowed to cheer, or you can't even take pictures because you don't have your phones with you. But what does it mean? Because many of us who were sitting there are considered to be by many to be that entitled category, that we don't need to depend on reservation to have political empowerment. But there were many among us who were athletes who had come in from Haryana. And I remember Babita Phogat being there. And you know what they were telling us? They were telling us that even for us to get into this profession has been a huge challenge. It's been a long journey of empowerment. And for us today, when we are witness and privy to the fact that the bill is being tabled on the floor of the House in the new Parliament building, it seems to be a culmination of that process. We've all seen the movie Dangal, where Amir Khan had to take on the people in his village because he decided that both his daughters should become wrestlers. And we came out with a kind of resistance which came in from the panchayat and so on and so forth. That really captures the story about any woman who wants to break the glass ceiling. Political empowerment has always been a tricky thing. Yes, the number of women in politics has been increasing over the years. It's not just enough that more and more women go out and vote. What is more important is more and more women contest elections, whether it's panchayat, whether it's Lok Sabha, whether it's assembly. But it's always been mired in a kind of skepticism. If you must have seen that famous series of panchayat where you had Neena Gupta, for example, who became Sarpanch, but the strings were actually pulled by her husband. Very often she would not even go there. In fact, this is an interesting anecdote which was conveyed to us by Babita Phogat when she said that in my own village, there is a woman who's a Gram Panchayat, but she doesn't even go there. So she sits under a tree while the men sit on moras. So the messaging is very clear that a woman may not, whatever be her political positioning, she does not have the right to share space or sit on a mora. This is what the bill plans to change. Well, for us, it's a great moment. I personally may not need a women reservation bill to surge ahead, getting a lot of opportunities. But for many of them, like Babita Phogat talks about, in smaller villages, smaller towns, it also gives them a power. Because what happens is that when you give them political empowerment, it's several generations. It's all the girls and women in their family who benefit. I'm very glad that I have been a part of the process of once again tabling of the Women Reservation Bill. I was a part of that process in 2010 as well. But the sapna was adhura because it was not cleared in Lok Sabha and it could not become a law. One is keeping one's fingers crossed, and of course one is hopeful this becomes a law. Thank you so much for watching. Do you share my enthusiasm? And do give in your responses on the social media timeline. Thank you so much for watching One Take once again.